All right, this is your friendly neighborhood surveyor. I got a message or a question about working on airports, and I think the best way to answer that question is a little bit of a video. We work with an engineering company that specializes in airport topos, or that's what we normally have to do for them. We cover pretty much all of Southern California for a company called CNS, and primarily it's like resurfacing, or if they're going to put in new buildings or anything like that. We've done parking lots too in front of airports if they're going to put in a new like rental car place, or really any redesign is up for grabs at these airports. But the question that I got was, what complications have we ran into, and what do we do when it comes to like vibrations and stuff? To tell you the truth, we haven't really had any. I can't think of any problems with the vibrations. Normally, our setups are in the dirt area, like between the taxiway and the runway. If we have to topo those areas, or closer to like where they park the planes. So even when small planes take off, or a big commercial plane goes past us on the taxiway, there's a little bit of wind, but we haven't had any really vibrations. So with the wind part, what seems to work good for us is making sure that you set out in the dirt, so you have a secure setup, and have a little bit lower setup. So like if my HI is normally 550, 555, I don't know, I go to about half foot or a foot lower, but mainly so the legs are a little more wide. And then I take a sandbag, and I'll put a sandbag on each of the legs. That way, they're more secure. What we do as well is, so when we set our control, we normally use GPS. If we set it with the instrument, or with the instrument or with GPS, we'll always run a level to it. Just because most of our work is very seldom a 50-foot grid, but it's normally like a 25-foot grid, and at times we've had to do a 5-foot grid in certain areas. So your elevations have to be right on. So we always level through our control, and then we store our backsite, and then we do then afterwards we backsite something else as a backsite check before we pick up. But all that stuff's documented, so it's not just for our own good, because that way, if there was something that moved the instrument enough to where it didn't let you know on your data collector, your backsite check would at the end would show that, and then you can kind of maybe check a couple other topo points and see where the problem is. I know in the office they have had issues like going from the edge of pavement into the dirt. So what we do is, and what seems to be working out really good for our client is, and this is anyone who does line work. So we create brake lines. So let's say we have an asphalt shot or a concrete shot, or let's just say an asphalt shot, and you're going towards the edge of a taxiway. So we do our let's just say the center of the taxiway. Center of the taxiway is an asphalt shot, or FSA is what we call it. And then we go to the edge of pavement. So we go to the best representation of what that top of pavement would be. And so that's our EP. That'll draw a line. Our next shot will be an existing ground shot. And so we have an existing ground shot code that will draw a line, and that'll create a break line there between the edge of pavement and the existing ground, because it kind of goes down. And then as long as there isn't any kind of crazy grade break or anything like that, then we go out another 20-25 feet and get another EG shot, just so the client can see like contours, how the land's going. We do striping, so the airport striping. We do that GPS normally, and then we locate tie downs. We locate the airport lights. So we have a set of codes that are just for airport work, just to make it easy. And I would get with the client as well and find out everything that they're going to need and what size grid. To keep a nice grid, we'll normally shoot like on a taxiway. If you have a nice straight baseline, we'll shoot one end of it, and I always use like a dummy point number. And so like if I called it 500, and then at the opposite end, shoot it there on the line as well, call that 501. And then most data collectors have a road program where you can say you're going from point 1 to point, or from 500 to 501, and then it shows you where you're on that line station wise, and then left or right foot wise. So it, if you're doing every 25 feet and you're at 1 + 25, and it'll say like right 50 feet, right 4602 or whatever, and then that way your end product looks really nice, and it keeps you on that straight line. So that's kind of how we set up our jobs. Is we find the longest line, use some dummy point numbers just to create that line, and then use that line as our baseline for our stationing and offsets. Again, elevations are a key. At least that's what it's been for us. So that's where I would start. Make sure your control's good. Make sure you level through it all. Make sure you like whatever your point range of your topo shots are on each setup. So if there is a discrepancy, at least you have a point range that you can deal with. And I would say that's about it. Again, haven't had too many problems with vibrations. Every airport's different. Some of them may want you to carry a radio so you can hear the if you have to cross any of the taxiways. About half of the airports we work on, we have to have escorts. There's my yellow light up there. Usually have to get a yellow light or something for your vehicle. It's just all the rules and regulations. But for the most part, I like airport work. Airport work is pretty good. Many times it's a prevailing wage, and it depends on where the money's coming from, at least in California. And I don't know. I'd say that's about it. Utilities. Again, check with the client, and then maybe bring up some of the things I talked about, like the tie downs, because if they're resurfacing, they need to know what's there. So tie downs, those lights, gutters. If they're resurfacing, what we do, so we'll do our grid, and let's say there's like a low point, and you can tell it's a low point because of like old water stains and stuff. So we'll then just take some random FSA shots, which is just finished surface asphalt for us, and we just kind of go around the edge, and then take a few shots in the middle just to show the contour. So the way our topos look like, you'll have these gridded points, and then if you see a cluster of points, then that kind of draws the attention in the office to that area. And you could also just shoot like a middle point and just say low point or LP or whatever. Um, so I hope that helps, and let me know if you have any more questions. Survey out.